Hey there, thank you so much for stopping by and spending a couple of minutes of your day with me today. I really appreciate it. So, today I wanted to talk to you about something in my collection. This is a stipple brush that I have owned for, yeah, 30 years, almost 30, well, probably closer to 25. But it's a very old stipple brush. I still use it quite frequently. I love this thing. And let me give you a little bit of a history. Back in the day when I first got this, which would have been in the mid 90s, there were a couple of companies that were holding rubber stamp conventions quite regularly. And there was a company called Evolving Images that was run by a nice older lady and her husband out of Florida. They actually came all the way out to Puyallup, Washington, which is across the country. And they were selling some of their stamp plate or sheets that were actually full plates of uncut rubber. They had templates that they were using that you could use for inking as well as measuring and cutting. And then they had these stipple brushes. Now, stippling at that time was something relatively new to stamping, and people didn't use it that much. Kevin Nakagawa of Stampscapes started stippling a lot more instead of using his tonal applicator back in the 1990s, and as well as sponges. So that's when this kind of stuff came on the scene. And normally you got this kind of bad, attached via a plastic thing here with a cheap wooden handle, and you da-da-da, and then everything would fall out. These bristles have not fallen out. I think I've had one or two fall out of this thing. And it cleans up really easily, even though it's stained at the tip. Once I've completely brushed it out and then I switch colors, I have no trouble switching color with this thing. Now, yes, you can get some new things from, I believe it's Tim Holtz, that he calls color dusters, which are very similar, but those brushes they're a bit more supple, so they will bend a lot more. They're great if you want to do this kind of a maneuver, or if you want to brush back and forth. This won't do it quite as much. This is best for tapping. And why don't we head on over here? I'll show you on some scrap exactly what kind of effect you get with this. All right, so here we are. This is at my stamp table. There's a little piece of cardstock right here in the middle, and I'm going to show you what I do with the stipple brush. Now I'm using two of the Positively Saturated inks by Simon Says Stamp, one that's Fairway, one that's Cadet. We'll start with Cadet first, which is a bit of a blue. Then I usually have one of, this is actually a comic book backing board, but I use it for blotting, so I'm just going to have that right over here so I can get some of the majors, see how you get a big old blot like that. Okay. I don't want a big complete blot, I want some stippling, so very, very, and you see how much I'm getting on this card. Let me lift it up a little bit. Okay, so I've gotten quite a bit on there already. It's a little hard to see on the camera, but it's produced quite a lot. Blotting a little bit. So I'm now getting quite a bit of color onto this cardstock. See, this is what happens when I go straight from the pad to the ink, from the pad to the scrap paper. Pardon me, jeez, brain's not working today. And then you get a couple of areas that are very, very dark, and so now I'm going to have to add more ink on top of this to sort of straighten it out. Okay, so now I've got this completely covered in blue, and I'm just going to add a little bit of green. Now these are the second colors in each of these sets. The sets that come out from Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks are three inks in various shades of the same color, this one being green. So this is the middle of the three. This is, now the other thing you can do is turn the stipple brush as you go, which is something I do. So we'll do this. When you get this, so you don't want to go like blam like that. That's not going to help. Doing this is not helpful. You're not going to get what you want. It's just a straight up and down tapping. There we go. I think that's absolutely beautiful as far as putting that behind something, especially if you then want to put any stenciling on top of that or put it through an embossing folder, it's all beautiful. So as you can see, it still says Evolving Images right on the brush. That is my 25 to 30-year-old stipple brush, and I still use this thing quite often, and I love it. So we'll see how long it lasts me, but there it is. Thanks again so much for spending any time here, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.